Have you ever stood up from a chair a little too fast and for just a second felt your whole body ask you a question it never used to ask? Are we sure about this? If that moment sounds familiar, I want you to know something right now before we go any further. That moment does not mean you are old. It means you are human and it means you are paying attention, which, as it turns out, is exactly what separates the people who thrive after 60 from the people who simply survive it. I want to talk to you today about something doctors and researchers have quietly discovered over the last 2 decades. Something that has nothing to do with your birth certificate and everything to do with five specific abilities your body either still has or has started to lose. And here is the part that matters most. Most people over 60 are only missing one, maybe two of these five things. But there is one ability on this list, the one we will save for last, that almost nobody talks about. And when you lose it, it quietly speeds up everything else. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly where you stand, and more importantly, exactly what to do about it. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. You already know your body has changed. Your knees remind you when the weather shifts. Getting up off the floor takes a little more strategy than it used to. Maybe you have noticed you get tired doing things that used to feel effortless, carrying groceries, climbing 2 flights of stairs, chasing after a grandchild in the backyard. If any of this sounds like your life, take a breath, because you are not alone and you are not broken. This is simply what happens when the body is left to age on autopilot. But here is something wonderful I need you to really hear. Aging on autopilot is a choice, even if nobody ever told you that it was a choice. And the people who age differently, the 70-year-olds who still hike, still garden for hours, still pick up their great grandchildren without thinking twice, they are not genetically blessed. In the vast majority of cases, they simply held on to these five abilities or worked to rebuild them. So let's walk through them together, one at a time, because I promise you, this will feel less like a lecture and more like a conversation between old friends catching up on something important. The first ability is the power to rise from a chair without using your hands. I want you to picture it for a second. Sitting in a low chair, no armrests, and standing straight up using only the strength in your legs and your core. It sounds so simple, it almost feels silly to mention. But physical therapists will tell you this single movement is one of the strongest predictors of long-term mobility and independence that exists. If you can still do this comfortably, your legs are strong, your balance is solid, and your core is doing its job. If it has become difficult, that is incredibly common, and it is also incredibly fixable, which is genuinely good news, because it means the solution is already within reach. The second ability is walking at a steady, confident pace without needing to watch your feet. Have you noticed people who shuffle, who stare down at the ground while they walk, almost as if they are afraid of what might happen if they look up? That fear is often rooted in a loss of what is called proprioception, your body's internal sense of where it is in space. When that sense stays sharp, you walk with your head up, your shoulders back, and your eyes on the world around you, the way you did decades ago. And as you start to notice yourself walking taller and more confidently in the coming weeks, you will feel something shift, not just in your body, but in how you carry yourself through your entire day. The third ability, and this one surprises people, is grip strength. Researchers have studied this extensively, and grip strength has become one of the single most reliable markers doctors use to estimate biological age and even long-term health outcomes. Can you still open a stubborn jar lid? Carry 2 full grocery bags in one hand from the car to the kitchen? Grip strength reflects far more than just your hands. It reflects the overall strength and resilience of your entire muscular system. The wonderful thing is, grip strength responds remarkably quickly to the right kind of simple, gentle training, often within just a few weeks. The fourth ability is the capacity to hold a conversation while walking, without losing your breath or your train of thought. This one combines cardiovascular health and cognitive sharpness in a single everyday moment. If you can walk briskly with a friend, chat about your weekend, laugh, and keep pace without gasping for air, your heart, lungs, and brain are working together beautifully, exactly the way they were designed to. This is your body's way of telling you that the systems keeping you alive are still communicating well with each other. Now, before I give you the fifth ability, the one almost nobody talks about, I want to pause and ask you something because I am genuinely curious. Out of the four abilities we just covered, which one felt the easiest for you? And which one made you think, I should probably work on that? I would love for you to type your answer down in the comments below, because so many people in this community are going through the exact same thing you are. And honestly, seeing your answers helps me know exactly what to cover in future videos for you. All right, let's talk about that fifth ability now, the quiet one, the one that so rarely gets mentioned, yet so often determines everything else. The fifth ability is the capacity to fall asleep within roughly 20 minutes and stay asleep through most of the night. I know, this doesn't sound like a physical ability at all, but stay with me, because this might be the single most important item on this entire list. Deep, restorative sleep is when your body repairs muscle tissue, regulates hormones, clears waste from the brain, and consolidates memory. When sleep quality declines, and for so many people over 60 it quietly does, every other ability on this list starts to erode faster than it should. Poor sleep weakens grip strength. Poor sleep slows your walking pace. Poor sleep makes it harder to rise from that chair without using your hands, because your muscles never fully recovered overnight. This is the hidden domino, the one thing most people never think to address, yet it may be quietly influencing everything else we just talked about. So here is what I want you to take from all of this. If you looked at these five abilities and felt a little discouraged because a few of them are harder than they used to be, please take a breath with me right now and let that discouragement go, because I promise you none of this is permanent. The body is remarkably, almost stubbornly responsive to the right kind of consistent care, even later in life, even if you feel like you are starting from behind. Muscle can be rebuilt in your 60s, your 70s, and yes, even your 80s. Balance can be retrained. Sleep can be restored. This is not wishful thinking. This is what shows up again and again in the research on healthy aging. The people who beat aging, and I say beat gently because this is not a battle against your body, it is a partnership with it. The people who thrive tend to do a few simple things consistently. They move their bodies every single day, even if it is just a 20-minute walk. They challenge their balance on purpose, standing on one foot while brushing their teeth, for example. They do some form of resistance work, even light resistance bands, because muscle is one of the most protective tissues you have against age related decline. And they protect their sleep like it is sacred, because now you understand exactly why it matters so much. I also want you to hear this clearly, because I think it gets lost so often in conversations about aging. This is not about chasing youth. It is not about pretending you are 30 again, or fighting some imaginary war against the number of candles on your birthday cake. This is about something so much more meaningful than that. It is about being able to get down on the floor and play with your grandchildren, and get back up without a second thought. It is about walking through an airport without needing to stop and catch your breath. It is about waking up feeling rested instead of foggy, and greeting your day with energy instead of dread. That is what these five abilities really represent. They represent freedom, independence, and the simple, profound joy of being fully present in your own life. As you start paying closer attention to these five areas in the coming days, you may notice something interesting happening. Small improvements compound. A little more strength leads to a little more confidence, which leads to a little more movement, which leads to better sleep, which leads to even more strength. It becomes a gentle upward spiral rather than the downward one so many people assume is inevitable. And it truly does not require a dramatic overhaul of your life. It requires small, consistent, loving choices made day after day, because you understand now, deep down, that your body is listening and it is remarkably willing to respond. So take a moment right now and honestly ask yourself which of these five abilities deserves your attention first. Not with judgment, not with frustration at where you are today, but with genuine curiosity and care for the person you get to become over the next few months. You have more control over this chapter of your life than almost anyone ever told you. If this video gave you even one moment of clarity, or one thing to think about differently today, I would be so grateful if you hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people just like you who need to hear this message. And if you know someone, a parent, a sibling, a friend, who could use a little encouragement and a little hope about what these years can really look like, please share this with them. It might be exactly what they need today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we are going to keep exploring exactly how to build and protect these abilities, together, one video at a time. Take care of yourself this week, be gentle with your body, and I will see you again very soon.